Boker Tov, we are continuing in Mishlei Perek Yud, Pasuk Yutet. Berov Devarim Lo Yechdal Pesha. If a person talks a lot, then transgression cannot be avoided. If you're talking a lot, then you could, God forbid, talk Lashon Hara, etc. V'chosech sefatav maskil. But a person that restrains his mouth, that is the wise one. So in general, that's in and of itself a great lesson, a great pasuk, a common pasuk, a common lesson that we know. You know, you're talking a lot, it could lead to things. Holding back is important. The Gaon of Vilna uses this pasuk to actually continue the end of yesterday's shiur, where someone wronged you. Now you have the option of how to react. So he said that the Tzadik covers his hatred, and he talks lies, meaning he says nice things to this person, even though it hurts him. This guy just hurt me. I cover up the hatred I have in my heart. I'm not going to say anything about it. Hello, how are you? How's it going? And you're nice to the person. The fool, right away, tells them off. Often, what happens is that when the person tells them off, sometimes you could go overboard what this guy even did to you. And then this pasuk, says the Gaon of Vilna, as a continuation, says sometimes you might talk a lot afterwards to try to repair what you did, but it won't help. But the one that restrained his mouth in the first place, that's going to be the wise one. So sometimes you could put gas on the fire if you keep on talking after this guy told you off, this guy did something to you. Now you go in retribution and you go too strong, and then you could talk a lot, but unfortunately it sometimes won't help. But the one that held his mouth in the first place, that is the wise one. One more pasuk, and this is an important lesson, and a beautiful cheshbon that he has over here. Kesef nivchar, chosen silver, lashon tzadik. We'll see what that means. Chosen silver is the mouth, is the tongue of a tzadik. Lev reshaim kimat, the heart of the wicked is small, like me'at, small, kimat. So he says as follows. There's two types of tzaddikim. Because in the first pasuk we use the word maskil v'chashuv, we call people from the sechel, smart, maskil, and here we say lashon tzaddik. He says there's a maskil and there's a tzaddik. And the difference is maskil, sechel, is the type of tzaddik that teaches, let's say, laws and halachot and what to do to become a Talmid Chacham, maskil. Tzadik is in midot, how to act properly. So this guy's a righteous guy. He acts nicely and he learns about not to be jealous and not to kavod and this and that. That's tzadik. So he says that this is also compared to gold and silver. These two is compared to gold and silver, where gold is much more valuable and is generally used for the rich people. Because you don't buy, for the regular common folk, they buy things in silver. When you want to buy something in gold, that means you're buying an expensive item. So gold is not as often used as silver is more commonly used. And he says in silver, there's two types of silver as well. Or kesef, and money, there's two types of silver, two types of coins. There's coins that are used locally and coins that are used, and money that's used internationally. Say I went to Poland, they told us, if you change money, says, first of all, nowadays, you use a credit card. If you change money to Polish money, make sure you use it all, because you're going to bring it back to Canada. If you change it, you're going to get a very bad rate. That's what they told us when we went to Morocco as well. Another thing that came to mind, the friends that live in Gibraltar. Gibraltar is a British colony, so they use over there the Gibraltarian pound. So English pound, the Gibraltarian pound, are 1-to-1, equal. So 1 pound in England and 1 pound, they're equal. But you can't use the Gibraltar pound in England. You could use the English pound in Gibraltar, but you can't use the Gibraltar pound in England. So it has value in its place, even though it's 1-to-1, but you can't use British colony money in England itself. So there's different values. Let's say an American dollar or a British pound, or a Canadian dollar, it's basically international, and you could change them usually So he says there's two types of monies as well. National money, or money that's only used locally, and kesef that's used internationally. So he says this is also the two types of, this is the tzaddikim. So he said as follows: there's the maskilim is the Talmidei Chachamim that teach knowledge, so that's like the gold. Of course, we should try to be like that, but the tzaddikim, that it's about day-to-day interactions and righteousness and how to be a good person, that everybody needs. In that, in Kesef, that's the tzaddik that teaches the Derech Eretz, there's two types. There's local money and international money. And what he explains is, there's sometimes people that are tzaddikim, but they unfortunately the way they use their way to influence is through difficult measures, like you're gonna go to hell if you do this. You're gonna and it's maybe nationally accepted. Maybe the guy has his own little group or his own little yeshiva, or it's he has a few students because he's very tough on them. Or there's the ones that are internationally meaning accepted by, which means those that teach the Torah and teach the Derech Eretz in a kiruv way, in a loving way. And he says like Aharon, Ohev Shalom, Verodef Shalom, Umekarvan la Torah. It was through love, Ohev Shalom, loving peace, and through that he would bring them to Torah. That's Kesef Nivchar. That is the chosen type of Kesef. A story that came to mind is a story that David Ben Gurion, at the start of the country, met with the Chazon Ish. He was the Gadol at the time, and there were certain things when they're starting the country, like Chazon Ish fought for kosher food in the army and different things, and they met and they asked Ben Gurion afterwards, how was the meeting? And he said, the Chazon Ish slapped me in the face with a smile, meaning that he told me off, but he told me off in a sweet way of certain things that I needed. So there's the tzaddik that he'll give you musar. He'll tell you, hey, you're not supposed to act this way, but it's how you do it in a way of shalom, mekarvan la Torah. So he says, kesef nivchar lashon tzaddik. The most chosen type of money is the tongue of the tzaddik, of how he acts in a kiruv way to bring people to do the right thing. Lev reshaim kimat, but unfortunately the hearts of the reshaim is small, and a small heart doesn't see the big picture, and unfortunately it doesn't penetrate. He has a small heart, and he doesn't connect. And we have to be the ones to try to get those lev reshaim to getting them bigger. Meaning they see I'm simple like this. I've been doing this all my life. I don't need to change, or etc. And he says the ma'ala of Israel is that we're am keshe oref. We're am keshe oref. We are stiff-necked people. But he says a stiff-necked people in the Torah way. That's how we've been built. At Matan Torah, at Har Sinai, we were all there, all of Bnei Israel. So we have the stiff-necked in us to be proper Ovdei Hashem and following Hashem's ways. So when a Rasha doesn't, he's veering from his natural base. His natural base is being stiff-necked to follow Hashem. And therefore he says, remember that a Rasha, when he acts like a Rasha, is always temporary. And that you could always bring it back to his general base of Am Keshe Oref, of following Hashem's ways. And when you look at that, Lev Reshaim Kimat, the Rasha, he's acting like a Rasha. Now, remember, his heart is small. It's Kimat, he's gone off the path in a small way, but he could come back to the proper way in that stiff-necked, going in Hashem's ways. And therefore the tzaddik, the lashon of the tzaddik, in the righteous way, the kesef nivchar, the way of kiruv, could Be'ezrat Hashem bring back the Rasha. Be'ezrat Hashem, may we act like tzaddikim and excel in being a maskil in Torah and being like that gold, and of course in kesef as well, and being the kesef nivchar of the chosen ways of acting in Derech Eretz and Midot Tovot. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Yochanan Yam Lakashem Eretz HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakot et Yisrael Lefiecha Chibra Lehem Torah Mitzvah Shneimar Adonai Hafez Levan Tzidko Yigdil Torah ve'yadir.